There's so much information floating around right now due to COVID-19 and what the government is doing to support its citizens, both citizens and businesses. So today I want to sort of break all that down for you guys so you have a better understanding of what you could qualify for to get some help. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is the child tax benefit. Now, the government is shelling out $300 per child for each family. So that would be, if you have one child, you're going to get $300. If you have two children, you're going to get $600. Moving on to special goods and services tax credit, also known as GST. Now, the government is giving an additional $400 or close to $400 for a single person and $600 for couples and families. This you do not have to apply for. It is going to come automatically if you qualify for GST. And this will be given out in May, so look out for that. We're getting extra time to file our taxes. Now, if you're someone who owes the government or will have to owe the government some cash, this gives you a bit more time interest-free. So rather than filing your taxes at the end of April, you have until June to do that. It's good if you owe money because you can delay that. On the flip side, if you're expecting a refund, then I would encourage you guys to file it ASAP because obviously you want to get that money as soon as possible. So for people owing, you have until June. For people who are expecting a refund, I would file it as normal. Mortgage support. So this is a big one because the major 6 banks have been granting mortgage owners deferral payments on their mortgage. So you guys are still being charged interest on the mortgage itself. However, that payment is being deferred to a later date. So even though you don't have to pay now, you're still being calculated interest, and that will be added to the amortization period of the mortgage. Keep that in mind. Some banks are granting maybe 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, I believe is the maximum. So contact your financial institution to find out how to apply, first of all. I know you had to call in initially and people were waiting hours upon hours to get through. I would advise you guys to call as soon as the lines open so you're in the queue, and be expected to wait 2 hours or more. There's been some questions around credit and is it going to affect my credit? I'm not sure. That is something that you might want to ask your bank and consider that. But from what I understand, it doesn't. So keep that in mind. So for mortgage deferral payments, you want to get that done as soon as possible because depending on when your mortgage is due, it's going to affect all that. If you're a renter, it's a bit different. I would encourage you to contact your landlord directly, either over the phone, via email, or text message. Let them know what your situation is. Hopefully you guys are on good terms, and see if you can agree to paying a lower amount. Based on your circumstances, you might have to prioritize on food, maybe gas or other forms of other commitments that you have, because obviously if you're not working, you're not generating income, and that's going to affect your ability to pay your rent. So definitely contact your landlord and negotiate something. Hopefully, if it's a lower payment or if it's a deferred payment, see what you guys can come up with. There are rent banks out there. You'd have to do your own research, Google it in your city, in your province, and see if you qualify. And if you do, great, you can get support from there. So that's something else to consider. Support for people who are facing unemployment. So this is a big one. The government is rolling out a program called Cerb. It is the Canada Emergency Response Benefit Program, and it covers you for up to $2,000 per month. And this is for people who don't qualify for EI. So, you don't meet the minimum amount of hours you've worked in the previous year. It's for people who are sick, who are in quarantine, or who are taking care of a sick family member. Also for people who have to stay home to take care of their kids, because if they're not working, they don't have money to pay for childcare, and probably the childcare workers aren't at work anyway. It's also for self-employed people, people who are contractors, And basically for anyone who has no other support, and that portal opens April 6th. So you want to go on the website, Government of Canada website, and create a CRA account in order to apply for this benefit. We still have regular EI for people who have lost their job or laid off because of no fault of their own, COVID-19. So if you do apply for EI, by all means, go and apply for it. You might be able to apply for the Cerb benefit first and then apply for EI after. So keep that in mind. For students, this is good news for you. You don't have to pay your student loans for 6 months. So no interest will be calculated on your loan for 6 months, and no payment would be required. This is a program that I found out online just by doing my own research. I didn't hear anything about it. It's for the Indigenous community. It's called the New Indigenous Community Fund, and they're allocating $305 million for that community. So Inuit, Métis, and their needs there. There's also been a lot of money being allocated to deal with homelessness and COVID-19 affecting that population. And there's also been a lot of money being allocated for mental health. So they are trying to think of the different needs that we have in our city and how this disease is affecting us all. If you are a senior, good news, the government is lowering the minimum withdrawal amount for your registered retirement income funds. They're lowering it to 25% for 2020. All right, so I know this is a super stressful time for us all, finances, family, health. So I just wish you guys good health and take care of your finances one day at a time, and we'll get through this. The next item I'm going to talk about. So the big one we're going to talk about is so. Is it still filming? Yeah, it's okay. And yeah, so you definitely want to qualify for this. So you definitely want to apply for the Cerb benefit. It is the Canada Emergency Response Benefit.